I'll bet some studio heads were thinking to themselves, what if a bunch of kids went on an Indiana Jones-like adventure? What you got out of that is the Goonies. And that's because Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom were pretty popular at the time. The story is about Mikey, played by Sean Astin, who is deeply upset that he's forced to move because his house is on foreclosure, and he's going to be separated from all his friends. Mouth, played by Corey Feldman. I think they call him Mouth because he feels he could always talk his way out of anything. So he thinks. Then there's Data, played by Ki-Hai Kwan, who ironically was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He played Shorty, who always has these cool gadgets and likes to think of himself as a James Bond type of person. And then there's Chunk. I think the reason why they call him Chunk is played by Jeff Cohen. They call him Chunk because he's fat and and he lies too much. One day they're in their father's basement and they discover an old treasure map. Treasure map One-Eyed Willie's treasured. One-Eyed Willie was a pirate, and he has this treasure on a pirate ship, but the thing is how to get to it. They can't leave their older brother. They got to find a way to escape their older brother and get to the treasure before they could get rich and millions and not leave the Goondocks. But they run into another bit of trouble. The Fratellis, played by Anne Ramsey, Robert Davi, and Joey Pantoliano. And where does the movie go from there? Well, you probably know if you haven't seen this movie, but if you haven't, I'm not going to tell you. The Goonies is a fun little adventure. It's not always a kid's film. I mean, it has some kid moments, but it has some adult elements too. And I like the chemistry with all the kids. I mean, they all just seem to click instantly. You get the impression they were all close friends. Sean Astin has had a pretty diverse career. Corey Feldman, kind of. Josh Brolin's career didn't go that big in the beginning, but I guess his career got higher as he got older. And Cara Green acted in a few things as Andy, Brent's girlfriend, has acted here and there. She kind of disappeared. So is Martha Plimpton. Well, she still acts here and there. Ki-Hai Kwan, I haven't heard much from, who plays Data. And then there's Jeff Cohen as Chunk, acted in a few small roles, but then he became a lawyer. I love the Indiana Jones like adventure feel to it. It definitely has that cool feel to it, and the situations they get themselves into. It's vaguely similar to what you've seen in Indiana Jones film. But I think the funny part is the Fratellis. They have a fun Three Stooges like vibe to them. Which is pretty funny. It's kind of silly, funny slapstick. And let's not forget Sloth, played by John Matusznik, was once a famed football player. He's pretty feared and who sadly passed away in 1989. But he has this funny friendship with Chunk. When Chunk gets captured, he gets tied up with Sloth. he's like you think he's a scary person, but then you realize he's like this giant of a man, but he's got the mind of a child. That's what makes them funny. They have this funny of mice and men like thing. I believe a lot of films were inspired off the Goonies, like Explorers, The Monster Squad. Let's not forget Stephen King's It. His novel took a little bit off this, and let's not forget the famous Netflix show Stranger Things, who took a lot of stuff off the Goonies. I keep hearing talks of a sequel, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It could or it couldn't. But Goonies is an entertaining film to enjoy from years and years to come. I give it a 10 out of 10. Sayonara.